Okay, in this segment, we will cover basic technique of an archer and how they shoot, and cover the basic position and posture of what is required for an archer. Archery nowadays is more of a sport than a discipline. So there are many variations of archery, many types, many different types of bows. You have field archery, traditional archery, you have target archery, different types of bows, recurve bows, bare bows, you have compound bows, you have horse bows, for example. All of them are a variation of different ways to shoot. But if you take all of that away, the bare bones, the bare skeleton of how an archer moves is the same. Okay? So if we start from the feet position, it's very important that your feet position are at least shoulder width apart, you're balanced, okay, and you're relaxed, right? Your knees should kind of be above your feet. You should not be off balance to one side. And obviously different, there's no one golden rule of necessarily how to stand, okay? It's whatever makes you comfortable, and through being comfortable, you are able to shoot a good shot again and again, be repeatable, which helps you to get good grouping and good shooting. However, there are general guidelines as to how to stand and not stand. So standing at least shoulder width apart, maybe slightly wider is fine. Your weight should be going through the ground, should be relaxed, knees slightly bent, okay, not locked. There should be no tension in the body, should be relaxed, and always trying to maintain straight posture, okay? So the body's nice and straight. You never want to be leaning too far in or out, okay, or forward or back, okay? So your head, your neck, your spine is always in a straight line with the floor. I have here a horse bow, okay? As I said, regardless of what type of bow you're using, the movements are still going to be the same. So if you are a right hand archer, meaning you're pulling with your right hand and your right eye is your dominant eye, then you are holding the bow in your left arm and shooting out to your left, and vice versa. If you are a left-hander, you'll be pulling with your left and shooting out to the right. In archery, we never face the target face on. We always make ourselves nice and thin. So we're sideways on. Our feet and our body should be in line with the target as much as possible. There are various stances that we can have. You can have square stance, you can have a slightly open stance, maybe even a closed stance. So square stance is when your feet are in a straight line, an invisible line running through the target. Open stance is when you are kind of opening yourself to the target slightly, like this, but when you come to shoot, your top half, your shoulders are still in line with the target. And closed stance is the opposite. It's as if you're kind of showing your back to the target, but again, your top half is in line with the target. These are various ways of standing. Different positions suit different people. So most people like to shoot square. You'll see a lot of top Olympic archers shoot open stance. Whatever suits you and makes you comfortable, then you can go with that. The main movement and position of the arms is from here. You are just turning your head, trying to keep your shoulders in line with the target, never turning your shoulders, and you're moving your arms together. This is very important. We don't have one arm moving without the other. So your arms are moving across the body and then pulling back. It's just this movement here. Okay? So if you can try to drill this movement, sometimes you will see people using an elastic band. Okay, these are sports stretchy bands. They're very good for even warm-ups, but also to learn basic technique without pulling a heavy weight. So if you have one of these bands, it replicates using a bow without you pulling the heavy poundage of a bow, for example. So we recommend using one of these stretchy bands as well. So getting this movement of the arms in start position, okay, head up, and first you're going to turn your head to the target. Try and keep your arms kind of not touching the body, not in, slightly off, but close. And you are raising the arms. Very important to keep this elbow and the forearm in line. And from here, you're going to expand and pull and trying to keep everything in a nice straight line. So with a horsebow, for example, people can pull with the fingers or the thumb, doesn't really matter. So from here, you would be in this position, standing straight, turn, raise, everything together. Okay, it's very important that everything moves together. Now you're going to pull, come to your reference point, and then you would release. Okay, but alignment is very important. Try to always keep your elbow and your forearm, your wrist, hand, always in line together. You never want your elbow to drop down. Okay, if it's slightly high, not a problem, but too low becomes a problem. So we don't want this, for example. This would be bad technique. Now when I pull, you can see my elbow is down here. I'm putting a lot of strain on my arm, and this is bad alignment. But if I keep this elbow off the body, raise with the bow, pull, now I have a lot more power and stronger alignment. It's easier now to pull back. One thing that I forgot to say. Okay. In terms of good basic alignment, you want to be what they call inside the bow. Okay, inside the bow means trying to get your body within this width of the bow. Okay, so you don't want your elbow, your arm to be angling off too much. So for example, if I'm shooting towards yourself, when I pull back, you should not really see this elbow kind of out here. This elbow should be disappearing behind the head. Now I know that my arm is inside the bow. And then from behind, the same thing. The elbow should be behind the head, and we're trying to shoot through the middle of the bow. So for example, if I raise here, bad technique would be this, pulling, and although I'm pulling to a fixed reference point on the face, my elbow is off that way somewhere. Okay, this is bad alignment, and this will affect the flight of the arrow as well. What you want to have is your elbow not here, instead it should be behind, so that everything is aligned with the bow. This way you will get a lot more power. Okay, from the back, it should look like this. So bad technique would be pulling and my elbow is pointing off this way somewhere. Good technique would be this elbow in line with the head. So from here, pulling behind. So what you're trying to get is a line of your bow hand, a reference point, and this elbow all lining up. 1, 2, 3. So if you get this all lined up, you're getting maximum power behind the shot. If at any point your elbow is out or you are outside of the bow, this is one thing that can affect a good flight. Obviously there are many factors, but one of the main things is bad alignment. So a good idea might be have someone watch you shoot, take a quick video recording. That way you can instantly see whether you are leaning backwards, leaning forwards, if your elbow is low, if your alignment is out, and then you can work towards fixing that problem as well.